Not that I'm saying that stuff doesn't work. It does on a one-on-one situation. But I really was never keen on rolling around on the floor where I have the possibility of another man's scrotum going into my face. Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode live from the Lair. Alright, so these stories, I'm coming up on the end of these, like years 2010 to 2013. When I finally run out of actual stories, then I'm gonna start, going into actual, current events and military shit for the guys out there who are interested in all that, because I can give you a new perspective or a different perspective of what actually is going on from an enlisted man's point of view, especially one that's played the game as long as I have. All right, so while we're there, let's see, at the 414, there was a big push to get everyone level 1 combatives, certified. And I remember the first time they brought a guy out there, and I watched what they did, and a bunch of guys crawling around on the floor, doing all kinds of crazy ass shit, doing all of the basic jiu-jitsu stuff. Not that I'm saying that stuff doesn't work. It does on a one-on-one situation. But I really was never keen on rolling around on the floor where I have the possibility of another man's scrotum going into my face. You can call me whatever you want, but I'm not cool with that. That's just me though. Okay, so, I remember I put together the roster, we got everyone down there, and they were going through Combatives level 1, and I just went up to my office and was doing fucking reports and paperwork and shit. Which I really didn't like doing that much, any better, except, I had injured my neck and back when I got blown up in Iraq, and I didn't want to re-aggravate that shit, and I was trying to just coast to the finish line as long as I could, and that wasn't going to happen if I was, throwing around 20-year-old fucking dudes in the prime of their lives when I'm fucking in my 40s, so. I got the, Sergeant Popp, you need to get down there for Combatives level 1. I was like, oh yeah, I'll be right down there, but I got to do this report, and I just stretched it out and I blew it off. Got yelled at, but when you've been in the military long enough, getting yelled at is really not a big deal. I mean, I've been yelled at by the best of them. I got yelled at by a whole slew of fucking lieutenants and captains. I can't even count how many captains yelled at me. A bunch of majors, a few less lieutenant colonels, even fewer full bird colonels, and just like 2 or 3 times from an actual general. Now, with my credentials that I had, Special Forces, Ranger, Airborne, I could turn back, the mojo from a lieutenant colonel. But I had a real hard time trying to turn back the mojo from a colonel, and sure, you're not going to do that with a general. So basically, when you're getting yelled at by those guys, just do your north and south. Got it, understood, never happen again. Roger that. Okay. But it is what it is. Got yelled at, blew it off, and it was like, I think it was 8 months, 10 months later, they had another one, Combatives level 1, and the company commander I had at the time, I think his name was, we're not going to say his name, it was Buzz Lightyear, the dumbass, and he was like, you're going to go down there and you're going to take Combatives level 1 with everyone else because we need to see you down there, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't care. I'm not doing it. Sir, mate, I'm like, Major, I'm not fucking doing Combatives level 1. I'm fucking 40 some odd years old. I know how to fight. I did it professionally for about 10 years. I'm not playing these games. I'm not doing it. Well, kept bitching, you're going down there, you're doing it, so I'm like, all right, fine. I walked down there, and there was a staff sergeant who was running the class, and he had like a E5, female E5. And he was just going through the warm-ups and everything. And I went down there, and he had a little, it was like a cage locked up, but it's on wheels. You roll around. I opened it up, and I took out a set of gloves, and I threw them at him. And I took out a set of gloves, and I put them on, and I said, you knock me down, I'll take your class. I knock you down, it's over. Yeah. And, I shouldn't have done that, but fuck it. I just want to fucking play those games. And we both put our hands up, and 5 seconds later, he was sitting on his ass. And I took the gloves off, put them back in the container, turned around, and walked upstairs. And that was the end of it. Nobody ever mentioned Combatives Level 1 to me ever fucking again. So, fuck that. Now, I'm not saying that isn't a good thing that soldiers should learn today, because it is. But in reality, how many times is it going to be mano to mano, one-on-one, in a fucking combat situation? Probably not going to happen. You're probably going to have you and some of your buddies, and if somebody grabs you and tries to put you in an arm bar, your buddies are going to shoot him or stab him or just kick his head in. It's just that simple. So, I'm all for about watching the MMA and what they do, but in the real world, don't go to ground. Here's another thing. Now, this is one of those weird NCO things I noticed while I was doing my deal. I called it, let me see what my power's at. Oh, I called it the marriage phenomena. All right, now this happened at the 414 about a half a dozen times. I'd have guys that would fail tape or PT all the time. All right, and I would go out of my way to help these guys out. And we had our own little weight room workout center inside the building. And we had a couple, I think 3 ellipticals. And on this one occasion, I brought in these 2 guys. Both of them were within 1 or 2 years of each other. And both of them failed tape by, one was 2, one was 3%. They're overweight. And I brought them in. They had a bunch of days they had to make up. I brought them in 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for the first 2 weeks. And I would get on the elliptical with these guys. I would do an hour of elliptical with them. I didn't have to do this. I did it with them to make sure it was done properly. And then, we'd finish out work for the day or whatever we're doing. And, I did that for 2 weeks. 3rd week, I brought them in 3 times a week, and then I gave them a PT test on Saturday morning. And of course, this is Saturday morning. Nobody needs to be there. I just need to find out where my guys are at. I run them through a PT test, push-ups, sit-ups, 2-mile run, and then I tape them. Now, the one guy who was not married lost, I think it was 11 pounds, and he made tape by 2%. The guy who was married didn't lose shit. Now, I know exactly what happened. The married guy goes home, and he's probably like, Pop made me do this stuff on elliptical. Oh my God, I'm so tired. And his wife's like, oh, poor baby. Here's an extra scoop of potatoes. Have another beer. Whatever. It's totally counterproductive. Didn't lose any fucking weight. God damn it. And I saw that same thing play out with different individuals. People who were married, who weren't married. The guys who weren't married lost weight, did fine. The guys who were married, they would pass PT, but they really wouldn't lose any weight, and they'd blow tape again. But that's fucking true, man. Maybe some of you guys out there who are still in the service, when you have a guy who's married and he's blowing tape, you just ask him, hey, tell me what do you eat at home? well, and you gotta be, this is how it is. This is your career. Push away from the fucking table. Don't eat the fucking extra toast. Don't drink the soda. Don't drink the beer. Fuck potatoes. You're fat. You need to lose weight. Period. And if they don't want to take you at your word, you can only fucking take them to the water so many times. If they don't drink, they die. What are you going to do? All right, now, one of the most fucking horrible jobs you will ever fucking do in the military is be a casualty notification guy. Now, while I was at the 414, while Major D was there, I went with him out onto a casualty notification, and I was basically the secondary guy. He was the primary guy to walk up and tell the parents that their child had been killed, and it was just fucking horrible. And they want to ask all kinds of details. You're not allowed to tell them the details. There's a very strict regimen of information you can give them, and there's very few things that you can and cannot say. All right. And when it was my turn to play lead on that, let me tell you, man, that's heartbreaking. It's, because I'm a father. I got 2 kids of my own, and walking up and then looking another person in the face and saying your child has been killed is fucking monumentally difficult. It just fucking sucked, man. And it fucked with my head for the longest time afterwards, man. Holy shit. That's all. I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then actually, I did the original notification, and then another guy comes along who walks, another team of guys that walk them through the whole process of, the paperwork and the money and all the other bullshit that goes along with it, all the way up through burial, out to pretty much 1 year after the fact. Okay. And I had to do that twice. I was the follow-on guy and had to, make phone calls and do all kinds of fucked up shit. And I wouldn't say it was fucked up. I mean, there were people dropping the ball above me that weren't fucking, doing what they needed to do. And then I called people and pissed people off because I jumped the chain of command. It's what I fucking do when shit isn't working, especially after I've tried to fix it dozens of times. But, on the second time I did it, I got a big chunk of change released to one of the sons. And then there was some kind of issue with how they were divvying it up. And fucking, one of the step parents was named in the thing, and she was fucking the whole deal up because women are just money hungry fucking cunts, even though she wasn't even the mother to the child. I don't understand why she was involved in the whole fucking process. But, we found some old paperwork, and basically we went with the old paperwork, which allowed the son to get a decent, chunk of the money, from his father who was killed. And, I think he went to college on that. I think it worked out pretty good. You don't really get to, in life, people are going to say, pick your fucking battles. All right. I say, and this is my own philosophy, that's how cowards fucking speak. Because cowards only pick the battles that they know they can absolutely 100% of the time win. I say, you fight all the fucking battles and be the guy no one wants to fight fucking twice. Because then you win. You will win way more than you will lose. And even if you lose, you still win. That's just me. But yeah, gentlemen, casualty notifications were absolutely terrible. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in regards to these because there's a lot of privacy concerns for the families and stuff like that. And then, because, I don't know, like when you tell a mother that her child has just died and she falls on the ground because her legs give out. You know, you don't want to fucking mention names and that stuff because, I mean, that's just terrible. You know, and I remember in that, the movie Saving Private Ryan, you know, when the guys get out of the car and there's the officer and the chaplain and they're walking up to the front door to tell the mother that 3 of her 4 sons were killed. Like, I cried like a baby when I saw that. I was like, ah, because I knew exactly, you know, how hard that moment in time is. Okay, it was terrible. Next thing we had to do was burial details. And I referred to the burial details as dirt darts. Because, you know, it's a funeral. People are pretty naturally are bummed out about doing funerals, including me. So, you know, we'd have the calendar up there and we'd have the team that was on call to do the burials per week. And I think we had between 5 and 7 people on call. And we were only required to maintain a 90-day window a year for our particular unit. So, you know, we'd get the call. Usually the funeral would be anywhere from 3 to 6 days later. And the whole process for the whole dirt dart thing would begin. You know, you have to get your hands on the flags, make sure you have the weapons working, make sure you have enough fucking brass, you know. And I always went the extra distance. You know, we would do the 21 gun salute. I would have 21 pieces of real brass, and I would fucking brass all those sons of a bitches up, you know. And then we'd have the 21 fucking blanks. Because I just think it's, you know, in poor fucking taste. They just lost a loved one. You're firing 21 and you're going to give them brass blank ammo. Fuck that. So we do the 21. I'd act like I was picking up all the brass, but in reality I have the 21 pieces of brass polished up in my fucking handkerchief. And I would walk it, you know, from the gun line to where they were folding the flag, and then I'd give it to the NCOIC or the OIC who was in charge of the flag folding detail, and then they insert the brass into the flag after it's all fucking said and done, and then it gets presented, you know, to, you know, the loved one, you know, whoever is mentioned, you know, mother, father, wife, whatever. Now, on one of the occasions there was a big fucking problem because this particular soldier who passed away, parents had basically divorced, you know, and he had everything split down the middle. You know, same amount of money went to the father, same amount of money went to the mother, blah, blah, blah. And they were going to give the flag to the mother. The father was freaking out, you know, and people get really upset about that. You know, he's a former 101st guy, you know, I could not fucking do that. So we had an extra fucking flag, you know, while they were setting everything up. We threw 2 flags on the casket, and I just told the flag detail, just fold 2 fucking pieces of just fold the fucking flags. And I made sure I divvied up the brass 10 and 11 to each flag, and then the mother and the father were both given a flag. All right, I think that's pretty much the best thing that you could fucking do. You know, if that was to happen to me and I got whacked or I died and they came out to do the whole fucking rigmarole for me, I would like them to give 1 flag to each one of my daughters, because I love them both the same. But that's just me. All right, that's burial detail. Dirt darts. I had to do a lot of those at the 403rd as well, but you know, you get schooled up on it, it becomes old hat after a while. All right, now I'm going to tell you about a piece of military equipment that they use, which I think is a rolling piece of garbage. And that is the LMTV medium truck, cargo truck that the military is using. Now, apparently this is put into service to replace the Deuce and a Half, which is a monumental mistake. All of the LMTVs I have seen spent more time in the AMSA shop getting repaired than they actually operated. I mean, we had 3 or 4 of them at the 414, and at any given time we had one that was fully functional and another one that we could drive, but we had to circle exit. And what the circle X means is when you find a deficiency that pretty much will deadline the vehicle, but you still need it, your commander has the authority to circle the X and say, I accept the risk of using this vehicle. The other 2 vehicles were either fucking broken, waiting to get picked up to be serviced, or were in the AMSA shop getting serviced. And I remember driving back with an LMTV from the AMSA shop. I'm sitting in there, you know, I'm the A driver, the driver here, we're driving back, and all of a sudden, we drove like maybe 6 miles, you know, and we're on, what is it, 93? No, the Davidson Freeway, whatever they call it in Detroit. And all of a sudden the front end starts fucking hopping, man. It's fucking going crazy. And we've pulled it over on the side of the road, and there was all kinds of smoke coming from the front fucking tire. The tire, for whatever reason, decided it just locked up, and it was literally jumping down the road with us in it. I mean, literally, you know, the guys at the AMSA shop said if we'd have continued, the front wheel would have came off. We would have rolled the vehicle on a freeway, and it was like 4 in the afternoon, so there was a lot of fucking traffic. Now, these vehicles had no excuse to be in this fucking poor shape, because the one LMTV with the highest mileage was 18,000 miles. The lowest one was 9,000 miles. Now, I don't know about you, but if you buy a new fucking car, it should never even see the fucking shop for a minimum of 50,000 miles, and only if you're in an accident. Okay, you just do the fucking regular maintenance. You change the oil, you flush the transmission fluid, make sure the tires work, maybe, you know, grease the bearings, check seals. It should all be fine. I shouldn't have transmissions fucking catching on fire. You know, I shouldn't have wheels falling off. I shouldn't have, electrical fires under the hood, or headlights that refuse to turn on, or window wipers that don't work, randomly losing certain gears for no particular reason. I just think that the whole fucking military got totally duped on that LMTV system, because it is, 1, it's complex to drive. 2, its maintenance, its reliability is dog shit. Now the Deuce and a Half, that thing would run on gas, it would run on diesel, it would run on alcohol, and even kerosene. You just had to change out floats and filters for the fuel. You know, and maybe make a couple of other adjustments to the engine. The only problem with the Deuce and a Half is it was a stick. And most people today, especially the millennials and the Gen Z people, can't drive a stick. And that's why they went to the LMTV, because that's automatic. But hey, what do I know? All right, that's it for me for today, gentlemen, and I will talk to you later.